Welcome back to another episode of Mommy and Me. I am Brii Renee, straight from the A.
And I am Miss Renee from the A.
She stole my tag, y'all.
Sorry.
But anyways, you already know we bring you Mommy and Me each and every Monday on my YouTube channel, and you guys been going crazy. Shout out to everybody that subscribes to the channel and never missing on Mommy and Me Mondays, where we have these dynamic, multi-generational conversations, and I think on topics that we often don't talk about in the Black household or Black community. And I think it's just dope to have them. One, because I have to give her credit. She is like a little lit. She alright. She a little dope. She don't even know what lit mean. You know what lit mean?
Yeah.
What do lit mean?
That means I'm on fire.
Okay, I was gonna say use it in the sentence, but that'll do. But anyway, so today I wanted to talk because the comments been going crazy. Like the videos been up. She thinks she an Insta celebrity now because she reached like 3 million views on TikTok, 2 million on Insta. You doing your thing, because most people, it take them years to get on social media and go viral, but you did it in 2 weeks. So I'm thoroughly impressed. But you know, because we shared the story about you having me through artificial insemination and choosing a sperm donor, we got a lot of backlash in the comments about choosing to have a child without a dad, right? As a Black woman, we're tearing down the Black community if we don't choose to have a child with a father, and this is what's wrong with us in our community because we don't value fatherhood anymore. That's what the comments say. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about like your viewpoint and just have an open conversation about what, like, the pros and cons of a two-parent household and or the, you know, importance of fatherhood in our community. Because a lot of people did get it misconstrued. Even though she did have me through artificial insemination, I still very much had a two-parent household. And there was a balance of stability, and there was a balance of like the nurturer and the disciplinary. I'm sure you can see who was which. The dictator is, you know, here with us today. But I think that I was blessed. I feel like that's what makes me, I often tell people that's what makes me like the well-rounded woman that I am today, because I had different Black women raising me and pouring into me. So I get some things from you naturally, and I get some things that I was taught or just picked up from my Nana, who was her partner. But what do you think? Do you think that you could have done this, or you would have went through the process even if you didn't have a partner? I think you touched on that a little bit, but
I think I would have gone through it even without a partner, because I made a decision at that point in my life to become a parent, number one. And I think people put too much emphasis in whether it's a man or a woman in terms of a two-parent household. And I think people put too much in it into male bashing. You see, none of this has anything to do with male bashing. You know, if Black men decide to stay in the home and raise their children, then there'd be nothing for people to talk about.
Right.
Black men are the ones who are leaving their homes for whatever reasons, whether it be to have another family, or whether it be to not have a family at all, or whether it be to pursue a family with another racial partner.
Right.
You know, so I think society needs to, first of all, back up and let's figure out why Black men are leaving. Why aren't more Black men staying in their home? That's a problem for Black men. I don't have that problem.
Well, you know what's crazy though? Because I have this conversation with other thought leaders, and I would like to call them intelligent Black men. And no matter who, the intelligent ones and the not so intelligent ones, no matter what, Black women are always to blame.
We're always to blame because, first of all, it goes back beyond our times. I believe the problem go back generations ago. And I think people are going to disagree with me because they went in on my dictators. They got their opinion. But this is my opinion. My opinion is Black men, when we came out of slavery, okay, there were so many things that we were forbidden from, okay? And Black men saw other women as the forbidden fruit, Okay?
Right.
It was something they were told they couldn't have, they shouldn't have, and they better not have. And so they spent their whole generations and generations and running to that. And so what it did is it left us, black women, exposed. It left us in a vulnerable situation. And that situation was, we were good enough to bear their children. We were good enough to be their providers. We were good enough to be their backbone and be there for them. But when they had an opportunity to do something else, they decided to leave and leave their children, forgot about, their responsibilities at home. Now, some of them may say, well,
communities.
And their community, well, that's not true. Black men are this. Black men don't put up with the black women. Black women are this. They find all kind of fault with the black woman.
Right.
Reason why they can't be men and stay home and be fathers to their children. Now, let me go further and say this.
I would say to your point, too, stop laying down with these women. If you don't want to have these children or raise these children or have a family with a black woman, then why lay down with a black woman?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with that. And the other thing, too, is black men, even if you're not going to be with the woman, still be a father to your children. You see, to me, all of that goes hand in hand. Having you, and I go back to what I said before, is not bashing a black man.
Yeah.
I decided that I didn't want to put up with a black man's bullshit to have you. And I decided to have you on my own.
And that's very, like I said, you were a trailblazer with that, because I didn't know. I thought you only chose that because you were a gay woman and you were seeking that. I never, until we had this conversation, I never thought like, oh, wow, you would have wanted to do it regardless if you had a partner or not. But because of that, so many women came out and were like, oh, I'm actually considering this, or I want to do this. And they're heterosexual, they're straight. They're like, I'm just getting older.
And I say go for it. I think one of the most precious gifts in life is to be able to give birth, and absolutely to you and your sister. That was the best. That was the most beautiful experience in the world. I mean, to have a child growing inside of you, and you feel the flutters. You're able to grow. You're able to talk. You feel this thing growing inside of it, and you're able to give it life. There's nothing in this world that can compare to that experience. So, and with that now, it doesn't stop once a child gets here. You got to understand, it's a full package. And unfortunately, I'm still paying for this package. This package is over 30-something years old, and it ain't going away. But by the same token, becoming a parent, it's a sacrifice and
a lifetime commitment.
It's a lifetime commitment. And if you're ready to make that lifetime commitment, who in the hell says you need a man to do it?
And you know what's crazy? My grandma always said, it don't matter whether you married, you with that man, y'all live in the same household. When you have a child, that is your child.
Regardless. Because you know what?
Your responsibility.
Absolutely. My daughter, my other daughter, is married to somebody who she don't want to quite be married to no more. And hell, she's got 2 beautiful kids, and he's there in the house, so he does absolutely nothing for the children.
A lot of men
and a lot
of
black men are like, they figure, okay, we have kids. Only thing I'm supposed to do is go to work and make the money. Well, hell, she goes to work and make the money too, but she still got to take them to school. She got to give them a bath. She got to comb their hair. She got to see about their hair. She got to take them to extracurricular activities. She got to make sure they're fed. She got to see about them when they're not feeling good. She got to take them to the doctor visits. She's got to do the homework. She's got to go to the teacher-parent conferences. I mean, come on. The list goes on and on and on and on. And black men think that, hey, all I got to do is be a daddy.
Or provide some money.
Provide money. And that's more than
what do you think a black father's role should be?
It should be the same damn thing a black mama's role should be. If I got to get up in the middle of the night and change your shitty diaper, they should get up in the middle of the night and change your shitty diaper. If I got to burp you after I got to feed you, then burp you, they need to feed you and burp you. If I've got to take you to the doctor, it's okay for him to take you to the doctor.
If I've got to equally involved.
Absolutely. It's a 50-50. Who says, hey, it was 50-50 when they got you?
Yeah.
Why
do you think that they...
Well, hold up, back up. I take that back. Sometimes it ain't 50-50. Sometimes it's a You know,
sometimes one person doing more work
yeah,
than the other.
sometimes somebody doing more work than another, and sometimes it's just a oops.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But why do you, or where do you think this comes from? Like this ideology of, I'm gonna just let the woman do it. Because I've heard some men say women are just better at it. So
that's a
or
cop
we
out.
think, or they think that we just naturally know what to do, so they feel like, let me get out your way because you know what you're doing. But I don't think that that's the case. I think women, we naturally want to learn, and we understand that we have to learn how to be a mom. So we take on that responsibility of like educating ourselves about it.
Men have been given a pass for so many years, and they think that's the way that it should be because they've done it that way all their lives. And you know, I love to see a black man when he's at the doctor with his kid, and he's that daddy, you know, by himself, and there's no woman around, and he's got his little girls, and he's combing the hair, and you know, to me, I mean, I really like to see black men when they're really involved, not just black men, any man, when they're really they're that attentive parent for their child. You know, to me, I says, hey, he gets it. He understands. Yeah, and he's going to be there.
I met a black single dad this weekend, too, and he was like, I raised my child on my own. And I was like, wow, that's
kudos to him. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
And there are some out there like that now. I mean, this is no bashing to anybody, because I think there are a lot of great guys out there that understood it and got it and realized that, hey, I can be just as good of a parent as any woman can.
Yeah.
And it takes nothing away from their masculinity.
Do you think that we as women feel more connected and more engaged because, like you said, you're birthing it inside of you, you're carrying it for 9 months, like that adds another layer of like intimacy, and just like women can know the different cries? And do you feel like it's because we literally birthed them?
Yes.
Like that's why they don't get it, or the lack of connection? But I've heard, so let me ask you this. Well, did you feel that connection? Well, you're kind of different because you wanted to have, like you were planning this pregnancy. So the moment you got pregnant, you felt instant joy or connection.
Correct.
So, but do you think, because there are some women, and I read books too, that say like some women don't feel connected while they're pregnant. And that's okay.
And that's a trauma. I think that's a trauma. That's a disconnect. And I don't know why that's the case. Sometimes it may be mentally. You know, there's some mental issues going on. Sometimes there's some trauma there.
Or sometimes it's fear. Like I don't know what.
And you know, interesting. I was attending a meeting early this week, and I heard this lady. She was speaking. She was talking about, you know, she was married. She had a husband. She had children. And she had some things she was dealing with, but she came to the realization that she didn't want the children. She just didn't. She said she didn't want to be married anymore. She didn't want the children. And I'm laughing because I'm also thinking about a movie that I saw. And kudos to my girl Monique. Mm-hmm. Monique has this movie out on Netflix called The Reading, and the funniest part in the movie for me was when Monique was getting her reading, and the girls, and they're talking about, well, why did you do this and that? Monique says, them children, fuck them children, you know. Fuck them kids, you know. I didn't want them kids. And to me that was funny because I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Here you are portraying to be this loving and doting mother, and deep down inside you really didn't want the kids. So I thought that was kind of funny. Although, you know, I knew it was just a movie and it was a storyline. Yeah. But believe it or not, there are some people that actually go through that trauma. They are put in an environment where they think, well, hey, you know, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Regardless of what they desire to do or they want to do, this is what is expected of me, to get married and to have these children. And that's not what they really want.
I kind of feel like on the fence about it all, honestly. Like, because I know that most black men don't want to be as hands-on. I know that the bulk of the responsibility will fall on me as the mother.
If you let it.
I am terrified to be a parent because I know I still have so many hopes and dreams and things that I want to fulfill, and I know.
But guess what, though? You're strong enough to balance it. Don't think that you can't do it, baby. You're strong enough to. You know what?
I feel bad about leaving my dog at home all day. When I'm on set, I'll be like, This is why you can never be a mom. You've been on set for 15 hours. Your dog's been in the cage. It only ate once today.
But you can't.
And now it wants to play. It wants me to throw this ball, and I'm too tired to throw the ball across the room. Think about a child that wants to know, that needs to know, like, mommy, I need to engage with you at the end of the day and ask you how your school was, and make sure you get fed, and make sure you get a bath, and do your homework. And I'm exhausted because mommy had to work all day, and please get out of my face. Like, that's how I feel like I'm going to feel, and I'm so, like, I don't want to do that to a child. And to be honest, you were kind of like that.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
I never said to you, get out of my face.
Yes, Sabrina, please. Just please.
No, you were always, I may have said Sabrina, please, because you were always the damn drama queen.
No, I just wanted attention, and I don't think you understood that because you had been gone all day and because you weren't there at after-school programs. And
Hold up, back the hell up. I never missed the after-school program.
No, what I'm saying
is... Quit saying that.
No, I'm not attacking your parenthood. I think that you did a great job as a mother, right? But what I'm saying
because I sat through all of those little horrible ass programs.
Oh, wow, they were horrible.
Look. When I could have been doing something else. All those little programs where, do you remember the little turkey hands that you used to draw?
Yeah.
You put I sat through all of that. I did that because I loved you.
Yeah, but
and I did that because I knew that was expected of me. And I did that because that's what a parent's supposed to do. And that's part of the sacrifice.
But you never felt like, please hurry this shit up. I got shit to do. I don't want to be here right now. Or I could be getting this work done. Or you had a very high stress level job, right? As a public defender. And people's lives were in your hands. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when you came home, you didn't have a lot of mental capacity or any emotional room left for yourself, let alone me. So as a child, I didn't understand. As an adult, I realized, like, wow, I'm so grateful that my mom did hustle and I was able to see you build your own careers because I got to, you instilled those qualities in me. But as a child, I did feel like, dang, I wish you didn't work so much. Or dang, I
think every child feels that. I mean, because I used to hope that my mother would play with me a little bit more. Mama didn't play at all, but I used to always want her to play a little bit more with me. And I didn't really understand, like you said, hey, she had to put the food on the table. She's tired by the time she got home. She's, needed somebody to rub her feet, and to give her a little pampering versus coming home to pamper us.
Is that how the two-parent household could work? Like, as a man,
absolutely.
Right? No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if a man is in the house and he doesn't know how to be a support to the children, maybe your job is to be a support to the woman.
Absolutely. But they got to understand
Don't be out here rubbing feet like that.
But they got to understand that. I mean, again, that goes back to men teaching our boys how to be men. And being a man doesn't mean that it's always got to be masculine and macho.
Yeah.
I mean, being a man, can be very intimate and very, very understanding, very compassionate, willing, I mean.
I have to shout out this one Black couple that I love following. And I specifically follow them on social media because you're being indoctrinated with the things that you constantly see. And so I watch them because it reminds me that these healthy dynamics can exist and do exist. And they're a Black couple. I think their name is Love the Tillers or Tilleries, or I don't know how to say their last name, Tillers, I think. But they have a family page that I follow, and they both, husband and wife, they have, I think, 2 children already, and the wife is in the hospital right now on bed rest because she's pregnant with the 3rd or 4th child, I'm not sure, but the father is still producing content, and he's at home getting the kids that they have up ready to go to school, and he even is like transparent about it. He's like, look, last week I did it perfect. I cooked, I washed all their clothes, I picked out all their outfits down to the socks, and he was like, but this week I just went and bought them all new clothes and I just love that because it's like you said, I'm seeing that Black fathers or Black men stepping up and being that support. And he even showed up to like the hospital while she was on bed rest to like with the kids to give her, balloons and make her feel loved and make her feel like, hey, you are doing stuff and you're baking our kid right now. And I genuinely appreciate the work. So shout out to y'all. But I like seeing stuff like that because I think that there are some out there that get that you are still a man if you're cooking. You are still a man if you're clothing and getting the kids ready to school and doing like household duties.
Yeah, I mean,
What can we do to like shape black men to believe this more?
I don't know what you do to shape black men. I guess we just have to keep preaching and preaching and preaching and preaching, so that
We
they
need you.
get it. They don't see it as being weak or being emasculated or feeling as if they're lame. They're just black men who know that helping or taking care of their children and their partners doesn't come with any type of stigma.
Yeah.
I think they just do whatever it is to make their family unit works.
Yeah, I think it really is about meshing that, like that, being that yin and that yang for each other. Because I love a man that could cook. I could cook too, but if you can cook, please help me out. Because I'm working all day,
Yeah.
But I have to ask you, like, do you think that in today's society and climate, are children at a disadvantage if they don't have a father in the household?
I think they're at a disadvantage if they don't have a male role model somewhere, because we need to teach our boys how to be men. I don't know how to be a man. I know how to teach a woman how to be a woman.
Yeah.
I don't know how to teach a boy what to do when he starts experiencing certain things with his body, or how he should act when he sees certain things. Now, I raised nephews, and I think I did a good job in helping to mold him, but I still couldn't teach him how. Thank God I had brothers that helped teach him how to be a man. But there are limits to what women can do when it comes to boys, and sometimes boys need that. Boys. I talk about being a dictatorship, but I think when raising boys, you need to be a bigger dictator than me, in terms of being a man, because you see, boys are sometimes I think boys will try women a little bit more than they will try a man. Now, I think that sometimes in being a dictator, you can be successful at it when it comes to boys, if you start early on. You see, I think it's too late by the time boys get to be, 8, 9, 10 years old, and then mamas then try to start raising them. And I go back to going, to my previous comment about being a dictator versus your
Democracy.
household being a dictatorship versus the democracy. I think it's very early. I think you need to teach your children very, very early on the rules, the boundaries, and set some expectation. Now, can I get into that? The previous comments about
We're gonna do it a little later.
Okay, a little later, because
we're gonna have a new segment called For the Record.
Yeah, for the record. I can't wait to get into that, for the record. But I think it's important that black men, boys, black or white or whatever color you are or ethnic you are, gotta have some male figure in their life.
Do you think the same is for girls? Do you feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I didn't have a father?
No.
So
No.
women can be raised by women.
Yeah, all day long. All day long. I think that it's important that we teach women some of the things that they should expect from men. Mm-hmm. We teach them things not to accept from men.
Yeah.
And I think that we can teach them the way they're supposed to be treated by men. I don't think that because a man is there or not there, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I think for a long time, I did feel like I was disadvantaged because I didn't have a father. I felt like, even if this is going to sound so crazy, and I don't feel this way now, but because now I respect, like, I didn't have a good one or a bad one. So it didn't sway me one way or the other. But growing up, I felt like, and especially in my early 20s, I thought maybe if I had had a father, even if he wasn't the best father, that I would know how to date or deal with men more. Or I would know just male-female relations a little bit more. Like, what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable. But now I realize, like, because I have friends who have dads, female friends who were raised with their fathers in their home, female friends that had dads and stepdads, and they always tell me like, no, like my father, even though he was a great provider, he was a cheater. Or even though he was a great provider, he disrespected my mom, or things like that. So it naturally conditioned them to believe that it was okay to accept that, or that's just how men were. And I think that, I don't know if it's unrealistic or not, because people will say I want a fairy tale, but I think now, because I didn't have that being conditioned into me so early on, I don't feel like all men are like that. I do feel like there is going to be a man that's going to respect me, that's going to be 100% committed to me, that's going to be faithful, that's going to be a provider, but not use that as a way to like control and
Absolutely.
do whatever he want to do. But I think that because a lot of people do have fathers and they've seen their fathers do these things, they naturally accept that's just the way men are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, my dad was a great father to me, but the way he treated my mom taught me how to, what love to accept, what love is. And that's not necessarily the best example.
Absolutely.
So I think that anybody without a great father is at a disadvantage.
But then that's
majority people.
Yeah, what's defined as great? I mean,
I feel like a great father is somebody who is present, not both financially and physically and emotionally, that is involved, like we said, that is faithful and or because even if you are not with the child's mother, still respectful and loving to that child mom, so that they don't pick up toxicity, you know what I mean, or think that that's what love is. I think that a great father is a provider, you know what I mean, and the list goes on. I think great qualities, the same thing that make a great mom.
I would agree.
Yeah, you can have a bad mom, and it's like, but you know what? And people always say like, oh, having fathers is a disadvantage, or having children grow up in fatherless homes is a disadvantage. But I think having children growing up in motherless homes is a way bigger disadvantage than fathers, because fatherless homes have produced plenty of success stories. Plenty. I'm one of them. LeBron James. Like, the list goes on. It's so many people that have made it out into this world.
I'm one of them. Yeah. My father wasn't in the home.
It's a lot of people that make, but you know how many people struggle with just relationships, whether they be platonic or romantic, if they don't have a good relationship with their mom?
I know that's a big problem.
That's worse than having
not having a father. Absolutely. Because oftentimes, if a man don't know how to treat his mama, he's not going to know how to treat you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you got to have a mama's boy.
No.
I'm not saying you got to have a little, guy that,
put his mama above
everything.
Yeah.
I'm saying a man who knows that a woman deserves respect, a woman deserves to be treated a certain way. Certain things you don't say to a woman, certain things you're taught as a man. The emotional side or the emotional connection with a woman, I think, comes from that emotional connection that he's been able to build and stem from his mother.
Yeah,
even when it comes down to a woman, women that are not in the household with their children, I think really do their children a disservice.
More damage, than the father not being there.
Because growing up, just think of the problems that it creates. They don't know what to accept in society, what's not to accept, what's normal, what's not normal.
What love is.
Unconditional love. Because they can say anything they want to say about a father. A black man, a father, period. The love for that individual, or the love that individual gives, may always be questioned or suspect, or you can think a million things about it. But one thing that you can always identify with is going to be a mother's love. And they'll tell you, if my mama loved anybody you ask about, who do you think in this world loves you the most?
They're going to say their mama. If they had a good mama.
They're not my mama. It's not going to be. You may find one or two that say my dad, but the majority of it is going to say my mama. Why? Because mothers have a tendency to give unconditional love. And that is whether it's forgiveness, whether it's teaching you how to forgive or how to move on or how to just become the best person you can become. I mean, there's a lot of things that play into that, you know, but at the end of the day, everybody looks for and knows whether or not they've experienced unconditional love from their mother.
I think that's why that is clearly one of my red flags when dating. Like if a guy be like, I don't fuck with my mama, or I hate her, or you know, they just talk disrespectfully about their mom, that's a red flag. Because I can't fix that. That's a pain that's too deep.
Right.
That's some healing that you need to do on your own, and you got to come to Jesus or therapy on your own with that.
Yeah.
So that's a red flag for me. But I think that's also why.
And then that should also be a red flag for men dating women. That's a double-edged sword now. Because if a woman tells you, you know, I don't fuck with my mama, or my mama this, or again, I can't wait to get into this other episode about putting your mama in a nursing home, you know, or don't visit your mom, or don't want to have a conversation with your mom, or don't want to be around your mom. That's some deep-rooted shit that they need to deal with.
But now I will say, all moms are not created equal.
No.
It's some mamas out there where I'm like, God, you're toxic, or that's unfair to that child because you're either putting the weight and responsibility of you on the child, of them taking care of the mom.
Let me say, I have a whole opinion about that.
Before the mom is old and unable to work, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind taking care of you when you can't wipe your own butt. But, like, before then, as long as you can go to work, go to work and pay your own bills.
I think that is a individual problem and shouldn't be the child's problem or responsibility.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's unfair.
I think absolutely unfair. I think that's a cultural, goes back to a cultural issue. You know, that mother or that parent upbringing. I mean, you know, and I kind of touched on this before. I think it's unfair for us to put, as parents, to put our burdens of our life on our children, because after all, children didn't have to be brought here. They didn't actually be brought here, number one. Number two, I think as parents, we have a responsibility to put ourselves in positions to take care of ourselves so our children don't have to. And if whatever our children do for us is a bonus as an adult, but a child shouldn't grow up with an expectation to take care of their parent, period. You know, parents, you know, your children shouldn't be paying your damn rent. They shouldn't be paying, you know, your car note. They shouldn't have the burden of, you know, paying your credit card. I mean, whatever the situation is.
Until you're unable to do so yourself.
Until you're unable to do so. But I think parents should put themselves in a position that when they are unable to do so, they still can manage, or have somebody else to manage that for them without that becoming the responsibility and the burden of the child. I mean, because I think it's unfair. I mean, parents, stop being fucking, you know, selfish and irresponsible. You know, handle your shit. You know, go get a job, work, and get your Social Security, do whatever the hell you need to do so your kids won't feel the burden of having to take care of you. I mean, I just think that's who parents should be responsible enough to do that for themselves.
Yeah.
Period. Now, it's a different thing, you know, when you get a LeBron's or you get a Michael Jordan and they become extremely successful and they want to give back to their parents and do certain things for their parents and say, okay, mom, you know, you worked this job all your life to get me where I am. Now I want you to retire so that I can do. That's different.
Yeah. But
that's
like
different.
When you still trying to figure it out, I got friends, or I know people who like in their 20s, 30s trying to get their life together, and they're like, I got to make sure that whatever I do, I got to send my mama some money.
They've got, excuse my expression, and a lot of people not gonna like that. You got a fucked up parent and a selfish individual. Because if you were a parent, and these are the people that probably should not have had children, because if you were a parent and you understand that you're there to help guide, mold, and be a support for your child and not the other way around, then your child wouldn't be feeling the weight of taking care of you and themselves.
Right.
You know, like I used to tell you guys all the time, your only responsibility in life was to do what?
Go to school.
And get an education for who?
For me.
For yourself. Not for me, So not so that you can get a job and take care of me, not so that you could go get, do anything for me, but it's for you. So that when the good Lord calls me home and my eyes are closed, I know that you're in a position that you can survive. You can take care of yourself and you can, handle the world out here. Not so that you can, help take care of me in any way or pay for my old folks' home room or anything of that nature,
Y'all heard it. I'm not paying for it. So
but at the same token, I plan to have my shit together so the point that, I can take care of my own old folks, room. Hell,
girl, please, I'm going to have you upstairs.
I don't plan to go to a damn old folks home.
I'm going to have you upstairs like Uncle Pete in the house, in the room, upstairs. And when it's time to feed you, I'm going to put your food at the door.
But guess what, though? It's going to be my damn house. So I may not let you let you in.
No, it's going to be my house.
I'm not living in your house.
You might need to.
I may need to, but I'm not. You're in there, you don't live in my house. Then I don't want to do that. Never, I take that back. You stay in your house, I stay in my house, and then guess what? And when the time comes, if I need some help, then I can pay somebody to come see about me. But I got grandkids. I ain't got that to worry about.
Girl, bye. Them grandkids gonna be running the streets doing what they want to do. They is not gonna be studying taking care of you.
Either they do.
They not gonna come wipe your butt.
I pay somebody to do it. I'll
feed you your applesauce when all your teeth fall out.
That's fine.
They not doing it.
That's fine. Oh, guess what? I can buy me a plate. I can buy me some false teeth.
Okay, so look, let me ask you this: do you think that women should be raising, whether it's a child, whether it's a father in the home or not? Do you think that women should be raising their daughters to be with the man? Or to be wives?
Let me say this. You went to school in a predominantly white community. And I actually heard some white folks say that they were raising their children to go to school and to find a husband mm-hmm. and to find the best suitor that they could find, whether it be an athlete or whatever. And I thought that was so fucked up. I really did. I thought that was just so fucked up.
But some people would say that's what's wrong with the black community. We aren't raising our children.
I'm raising my children
to be mates to each other.
I have no problem with you being a mate, but I'm not raising you to go find a man in college so that you can get married and become his wife or his whatever. I'm raising you to be a very productive individual to where you can compete in this world to be a successful person. Necessarily raising you to be somebody's wife, to me, doesn't equate to necessarily being successful. Now, I'm not saying being somebody's wife is not successful. I'm saying raising you to think that that's all life has to offer you is fucked up. Period. I think it's fucked up. And I think to put that in a child's head is fucked up to do.
I thought it was kind of wild when I heard that as well.
And
then I was like a senior, I think, and she was like, this one white girl told me, like, mm-hmm. What do you mean? Aren't you going to just go to college and follow this boy and go get pregnant?
Yeah, I'm like.
And I was like, no, I got my own dreams.
Right.
And she was like, well, that's not, my mom said the first time, this is what white people, not all white people, but this is what some are teaching their children. The first time
you marry
for money.
And the second time you marry for love. And I think, again, that's fucked up.
Yeah, they're like, do the first time, get those 10 years in.
I think that's fucked up to teach your children that.
Have those kids, do your 10 years.
It's fucked up to teach your children that.
That
that says a lot for them. They have they're miserable people to do that, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You got to be fucking miserable to where you are in your life to put that shit in a child's head.
So because you raised me to be so...
Now again, I can't wait to get back to that episode because some folks say that you were,
We're gonna get there.
Okay,
we're gonna get there. But you did raise me to be very ambitious and goal oriented, and I'm an individual now with my own dreams, my own goals, and my life does not revolve around whether I have a man or not.
Absolutely.
And I'm grateful for that because my friends do look to me sometimes to be like, well, teach me how you survive and maintain your lifestyle, whether a man is doing it for you or not, because most women weren't taught that growing up, how to provide for themselves. Mm-hmm. But because of that, I have not always prioritized finding a husband.
And that's okay.
But what if I want to have kids? Who's going to help me raise these children?
Your village is going to help you raise your children.
You're going to help me raise these kids?
If you don't hurt have now, I mean, if you wait another 20 years, hell, I'm going to be too old to help.
Well,
but your village will help you raise your children.
Will you help me raise my kids, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, period. We got it on camera.
Absolutely.
Will you help me freeze eggs? Will you freeze my eggs?
The trick to that is, will I pay for them?
Yeah,
Hell no.
Yeah. Will you help me freeze my eggs?
I'll tell you, like you told me one time, I put a little something on it.
I need something on it.
I put a little something on it if that's what you want to do. But I don't want you to think that, you got to hurry up and find a man and hurt themselves down to get married so you can have children before. No.
So what if I become a single mom? Do you think I would be a failure?
No.
Like if I don't get married first?
No. No, you will not be a failure. If you decide to give birth to a child and raise a child and make that commitment in your life, no, you're not a failure. No.
I just need to get all this on camera. So
no, I don't think you're a failure.
If any of this happens, we got it on tape.
No, I don't think you'll be a failure. If you came to me and said, Mom, I'm at a point where I want to go ahead and have children, I haven't found the right man yet, I'm all for it. What do we need to do?
I actually met, I was on set, and the makeup artist that was doing my hair, she was an older black lady, and she was telling me her daughter was around, at the time, 30 years old. And she was like, my daughter is going through the artificial insemination process by herself. She doesn't have a mate. She was like, I don't want to wait. I just want to do it. And she was like, she was so concerned, like, just wait. Like, you got time. Like, you're only 30. You can meet a husband still. But the daughter was like, no, I'm ready to be a mom right now.
Okay. And kudos to her.
That's so scary.
No, it's not scary. Childbirth is one of the most beautiful experiences in the world.
You said you didn't even want to hold me when they pulled me out.
Because I was like, damn, I thought it was a boy, but it's like, okay, it's a girl. Can't send it back. I'm stuck with it. Okay.
And you said you might as well wash it off first.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did say wash it off first.
No, I didn't say wash it off first. You naturally have to clean the baby when the baby's born.
Now, some people wanted to just come out and the umbilical cord still be attached, and they put it on with all that gray gunk on it.
Well, I wanted them to make sure that you were okay, you were breathing, you were healthy, which they do.
She wanted me clean. She didn't want her own gunk on her.
No, that wasn't true. And they didn't clean you up that much. They just kind of wiped you off, make sure you could breathe, make sure everything cut the umbilical, and wrapped you up and handed you to me. So it wasn't
you didn't do like no skin to skin?
Yeah, I did. I did. But, that's just the way it was. I mean, I think that, when you're ready to do it, do it. I don't think quick thinking that everything has to be by a fucking book. There is no book. There is life.
There's a lot of books.
Listen, let me tell you something. Life, there is no book called life where you can go to the goddamn page and turn and say, okay, I'm here. This is what I do. No, that's not how it works. Figure it out. Do what's best for you.
You got to do what's best for you.
Do what's best for you.
Okay, well, speaking of doing what's best for you, it's time for us to get into your favorite part that you've been dying to get into. For the record.
For the record.
Okay, so you got some stuff. For the record is where we're going to clear up some things that might have been mentioned in the comments, or just for the record that you want to set straight.
For the record.
Go ahead, get it off your chest.
For those of you who obviously thinks that I was this horrible dictator where, I'm the epitome of the black family where the kids don't want to come over.
They said that this is slavery.
The kids don't want to come over, and that's the reason why they put parents in nursing homes and don't be involved. Well, obviously, my dictatorship game wasn't that damn on point, because I can't get rid of you and your sister and my grandchildren. For the record, okay? For the record,
we do still like her.
I still say, for the record, you should run your household as it is a fucking dictatorship.
And I will say too, but like to your point about like the gentle parenting and the whooping, right? So for the record, I would like to say I did not get whooped for every single thing I did wrong. Like she said, she gave me passes. And the things that I did get my ass whooped for, kind of needed my ass whooped for, sneaking out the house. My sister stole the car at 14. These were major things that
Kids needed to get the fuck beat down for.
Yeah, but we do have to acknowledge that there are some abusive parents. And I didn't realize that until people were in the comments or I started talking to people and they were saying that their moms would like come home and just take out their aggression on their children. If they drop something, they would get hit. Or they would.
I don't believe, let me, for the record, I don't believe in any of that, because you've got to always be mindful that the children never asked to come here in the first place. You brought those children here, so you have to make sacrifices for those kids. Now, I didn't come home with all wound up and tight and saw my kids and slapped the hell out of my. No, and as a matter of fact, if anybody had to put their hands on my kids like that, they were gonna have to deal with me. So no, I didn't do that. My kids, oldest one is 41 and you're 33. They got
32. Please pump
32. I'm sorry. They got memorable ass whooping. There were teachable moments. Remember that. There should always be teachable moments, okay? Now, let's go back to, for the record, when you talk about a dictatorship versus a democracy, let me tell you why there should be a dictatorship and not a fucking democracy. See, when there's a dictatorship, you're gonna have things like debates. You know, kids thinking they're your equal. You know, when there's when there's a democracy. When there's a democracy, kids gonna think that they're they're your equal. You know, when there's a democracy, you're gonna have kids are gonna be disrespectful. They're gonna be disrespectful for the rules and to people. You know, democracy brings also about dysfunction, thinking that they run shit. You know, kids have a bad habit of thinking that and then there's a delusion. You know, a delusion thinking that the world owes them something, a sense of damn entitlement. You know, but whereas when there's a dictatorship, you're gonna get things like discipline and respect. You know, which prepares the kids truly for the world. You know, when there's a dictatorship, you get a discernment. You instilled in kids a certain discernment, which enables them to make good judgments. You know, they know the shit that they can get away with and the shit they can't get away with. You know, when there's a dictatorship, kids get some direction, which allows them to go out into the real world and grasp what real life is about. You know, and they learn the shit that they can go for and shit that they don't go for. You know, so you grow up with an understanding in a dictatorship of some type of divine order and intervention, which teaches kids about the spirituality. So for all of those that think that, dictatorship is all bad, it's not all bad. It's within reason that you got to understand. Parent, take it from me. I didn't give a damn about, the threat of people, being out there and the kids, folks taking shit home and, taking shit for granted. And whether or not I cared about what people thought about me. My job as a parent was to make sure my kids could survive. And also you got to understand that when you're talking about raising children and dictatorship and democracy, everybody got their opinion. Oh, your mama's, she's mean and she's this and she's evil and she's this, she's got this slave mentality. If that kid was raised in a dictatorship, you wouldn't have so many kids in school today disrespecting their teachers. Kids going to school now fight. Let me ask you something. And we've already come to the conclusion that I raised you in a dictatorship. As a kid, would you have even given it a thought to go to your school?
And raise my hand at a teacher?
Not only raise your hand, but raise your voice at a teacher.
No.
That wasn't happening in your world.
It's never even a thought.
But see, that gentle parenting shit, that's why kids think today that they can go to school. I was looking at television. This ain't nothing I'm making up. This girl, who was probably in the 8th, 9th grade, this happened, I think, in Gwinnett County, beat the shit out of a teacher. Teacher broke both of her legs and the whole 9 yards. My niece in Texas works at a school. Kids in the 3rd and 4th grade jumping on the teacher, whooping the teacher's ass. Teachers can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
Because these are the gentle parenting children. Bullshit.
So I think that there are levels to gentle parenting, and what I learned from the comments is that there are things called like permissive parenting. I honestly don't know the difference between gentle and permissive, but what I will say, even though I don't think you did anything wrong with raising me, I will incorporate more conversation with my children about why I'm whooping their ass, or like not just, I know a lot of times you used to tell me do as I say because I said so and not as you're told. I mean, used to be like do as I say and as you're told and not as I do.
You only got that comment and that sermon when you thought that you could debate the decisions that I made.
I know.
Listen. When I said as a child, go do X, Y, and Z, your response would be, why? Well, because it's needed to be done, and because I told you it's time to get it done. But why do I have to do it now versus me doing it later? Because I damn said so.
But some parents have this new style of like they explain to their children why things are the way they are because we're naturally inquisitive.
I agree to that. And
so it's like instead of just shutting down their curiosity, answer them and explain some things. So I think that I will try to, I'm still going to whoop my kids when they really deserve it.
I don't have a problem with that. After you go do what I told you to do, you come back and you say, Mama, why did I have to do that? Or why was it necessary that I do that right then and there? Well, number one, it was necessary because this is what that called for. Number two, you don't get to decide when you do things that I tell you to do. Part of that is understanding, and it's part of also growing, authority. Teaching moments, authority. See, when you give children too many opportunities to question you as a parent, it creates that bit of delusion that I just talked about. You thinking that we're equal, that dysfunction where you thinking that you can do anything you want to do when you want to do it, rather than understanding and respecting the authority. Now, in a lot, and in the comments, they were going all crazy about, you got to be authority, you got to be mean and tyrant over your kids and beating them down. No, we never had those problems. So all of you that experienced that, I'm sorry you had to go through that and you felt that, or your parents treated you that way. I apologize. That wasn't my thoughts, my upbringing, or my, raising my children that way. My thing is simply this. I taught them how to respect my decisions and respect the fact that they're going to have to respect authority in the world. You see, either you teach them to respect authority in your house, or you let, like they say, the white man, the government, teach them how to respect authority when they're in prison, only coming out the cell, a couple times a day. Now, see, on one hand, you want to raise hell with us about being dictators, but on the other hand, you want to complain when the gangs and the kids are out of control. You see, either you're going to let me be a parent, put my foot up their ass when they need to be put up their ass, or you're going to let the government put their foot up their ass when they're putting them in jail.
Or the streets.
Or the streets for not respecting the rules and authority. Simple. I remember a time when, when your sister was probably the 5th, 6th grade, and she had homework to do that day, and I was sitting down doing her hair for the next day. And I questioned her about her homework, and she's sitting there, she's lying. I said, did you finish your homework? Yeah, I did. Okay. I said, are you sure you did your homework? Yeah, I did it. I said, okay, well, let me see it. Where is it? Oh, it's in my book bag. I said, well, get it out the book bag. Let me see it. And she gets a book bag, and I'm still sitting there, combing her hair. And all of a sudden, she pulls it out, and it's not done. And she went to go further that lie, and I popped her in the mouth. Popped her. And as I popped her, I don't know whether it was a bracelet or, because I kind of did it kind of cross-read. But nevertheless, there was a little faint scratch on her face as a result of me popping her in the mouth, right? So she goes to school the next day or two, and to grab some, to get some attention, she tells the teacher, "Oh, I want to put some ice on my face. My face is hurting." And she wanted to go get a little paper towel to get a little, to get some attention. So, now, the school is like, "Well, what happened? What's wrong? Oh, my mama slapped me. Oh, now they got to call DFACS. Oh, DFACS come knocking on my door. They called me up in the school, wonder what happened. And I told them what happened. DFACS come to my door, and they said, "We understand that there's an allegation of, child abuse and whatever. Fuck it, come on in." They said, "Well, what happened?" And I told them, I said, "I tell you what, either I'm gonna whoop her ass for lying to me, or 10 years from now, you're gonna be whooping her ass when she's in front of the judge, and you got to give account for what she's done, and you can't do it, and she's in prison. So either you gonna let me raise her, or the the jailhouse gonna raise her." And I said, "Come in, let me show you something." Took him around my house. "Do you see anything out of place in my house? I mean, do we live in squalor? Come in. Let me show you. Come on upstairs with me. This is her room. She doesn't share a room with her sister, but this is her room. Look at the room. She got her own TV. She got her own games. Look at her closet. She has all the latest fashion. Oh, hell, there's some things with the brand new tags on them. Come here, let me show you something. Look at my freezer. Full of food. Look in the cabinets. Where's the fucking abuse? The abuse is, if you don't allow me to raise my child, don't blame me when the system has to raise my child. And what we ain't gonna do, there's no child in my house that's gonna sit and lie to me unnecessarily about anything, okay? And I meant that. So all of you that's all in the uproar about, well, she didn't do homework because maybe she, bullshit. That was an out and out lie that I wasn't gonna talk. And guess what? I didn't get that lie no more. I wouldn't put no with that lie no more.
Well, for the record, I would like to add that gentle parenting in this term and this new strategy is very much so new. So we can't completely chastise the old ways of doing things and stand on this new way because
this shit don't work.
Well, we don't know. That's my point. I was gonna say we do.
Do you know the crime rate today is out of control versus when it was when I was coming up? The shit that children do today is unfucking believable.
Yeah, there are more school shootings now than there ever were.
The things that kids are doing, the boldness of children.
Well, do you think too? I was gonna ask. Do you think that gentle parenting is raising weak children?
I think gentle parenting is raising monsters. That's my gentle parenting or raising monsters. Let me just tell you another example. You see, let's not get confused. See, as a parent, even as a dictator, your child, there still need to be teachable moments, okay? And it needs to be those moments, and this is where the dictatorship comes in. You don't kick your kid's ass every day, but that's a teachable moment because that kid's gonna try you, and you're gonna have to tie that ass up, and that's gonna teach that child that I can't do that shit no more, and I'm not gonna do it again. Okay, like your sister lied about that homework. See, that was a teachable moment when I knocked the hell out of her. She realized I ain't doing that no more. Yeah. Now, the system tried to get involved, but we were able to handle that. And I don't care nothing about the system getting involved. Because the system's going to either do one thing, let me raise my child, or the system's going to raise him. And I guarantee you, when the system get a hold of him, it's a lot worse than what I would have done as a parent. Yeah. So now, going back to teachable moments, I went to Hawaii a couple of weeks ago, and we were, a group of us friends, we were at this very exclusive restaurant. And this little kid couldn't have his way and was screaming at the top of her damn lungs, okay? Just screaming. Mama trying to pacify this kid. And this kid is what, 5, 6, 7 years old. You know, mama trying to give the kid whatever, and the kid is just showing their natural ass. They're just screaming and yelling and kicking and carrying on. You see, that to me was a teachable moment. Mama should have used that opportunity right there to whip his ass right there where he stood. And I guarantee you, when she finished whipping his ass right there, he would have never, ever did that to her again in public.
So that kind of borderlines this new trend now called child shaming, where like they say, you know, I think in my day and age, I think it's evolved because of social media. But, you know, back in my day and age, you might get whooped in class if you acted up in class, like which is warranted in some cases, right? But now parents are going as far as like there's this video of this one mom who cut her child's hair off and posted it on the internet. Do you feel like what do you feel about that?
What was the purpose of that? Cutting a child hair. Now, what I have said to kids now, you want to get out of line, you want to get this. I fight kids too.
No.
I won't fight them in a sense of, But if my point of saying that is, if you get what you get.
Okay.
You get.
So do you think any behavior warrants cutting your child's hair off and posting it on the internet?
I can't think of any behavior that warrants that, cutting your child's hair. Unless the kid wanted a haircut. Now, from what you're saying, the kid didn't want a haircut.
No, I think she said that the daughter was being cute or thought she was cute, and she posted it. So, like, my thing is, like, do you, okay, or
I don't.
Cutting her hair off. Would you have?
You don't do anything to degrade or tear down your child's self-esteem. If that's something that she was doing to tear her kid's self-esteem down, I said she was dead ass wrong. Dead ass wrong. You don't do things. You do things to teach your children a lesson. And however you need to get that lesson across, that's what you do. But not to the point that you destroy their self-esteem or you tear their morale down or you hurt them mentally. No.
Would you, so...
Now whoop your ass and maybe, put it on it.
You would whoop me and post it on the internet.
If it depended on, back then they didn't have internets, but
I think that's so wrong. I don't think.
But don't.
I think discipline me, but don't whoop my ass and put it on the internet.
I'm not saying
that lives forever.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do that because I think that.
She has a cruel sense of humor.
No, I'm just laughing. I'm just kidding. But I don't think I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't whip your ass and post it on the internet because I think that would tear down your self-esteem, and I think that would, like you said, linger forever. And that's not a teachable moment. That's being cruel.
Okay, so let's just move on. All right, guys, so it's time for I Want to Know. And I Want to Know is at the end of each episode, we both ask each other one or two questions that we want to know the answer to, and we both have to answer honestly and truthfully, no truths held, right? So the first question comes from one of our viewers. His name is halfman.5 amazing. Shout out to you for watching. For mom, and I always kind of wanted to know this too, so that's why I thought this was a good question. For mom, had you had a son like you said you wanted, what do you think you would have done differently when raising me?
What I would have done differently in raising, I would have taught him how to be as respectful as possible and how to treat a black woman. I would have did everything I could do, just as I've taught my nephew, and I'm very proud of the man that he is today, teaching him the importance of being a black man, sticking it out with his family, doing the good and bad times, making him understand that, number one, a black woman is somebody that he should love, cherish, and respect. And number two, making him understand or getting him to understand the dynamics of him being, the importance of him being in his household, raising his children. You see.
So you think you would have raised him to be more of a black father and husband than you raised me to be a black wife and mother?
I think the importance shifts because with a girl, I didn't want you to think that was all it was to life, is to be a black woman and a black mother. Mm-hmm. See, you had to be able to survive and handle the world on your own. But with a black man, I've got to teach him how to be that king he is to be and to manage and take care of his household. You see, the dynamics are different. And a lot of people say, well, there's a double edge and you should teach them the same. Now you can't teach them the same because their roles and responsibilities, are different. Mm-hmm. It can be different. Now, I'm not teaching you to take the man's place, but I'm teaching you to survive in case there is no man.
Yeah.
And with him, I'm teaching him how to be the man and stand there and take care of his children, his woman, his wife, and his responsibility. There's a difference in the teaching. So yeah, I would have taught him to do that. How to be a gentle but strong soul in his household and be a God-fearing man in his household, and how to lead his family.
Okay, so I want to know, this is also something I want to know. She used to drill. You really wanted me to play basketball so bad. And I want to know, why did you want me to play basketball so bad? Was that your way of getting some piece of that boy that you always
No, it
wanted?
had nothing to do with getting that piece of boy. It had something to do with getting you learn so that you could learn some coordination, some skills.
I can learn that from cheerleading.
Well, you did. I mean, cheerleading, I was willing to try any sport that taught you.
No, but you was hell bent on basketball.
Well, because you had the height. I just didn't want you to waste the height. You know, had your school had, volleyball. If volleyball was popular back then, I probably would have pushed you towards volleyball. But don't think
You
I
did
knew
kind of push me to a volleyball.
it was basketball. Yeah. So I wanted you to learn the skills, learn what it means to be a part of a team, learn what it meant to have to exercise and put something into it. So basketball was, it was there. It was there. It was available.
Okay, that's fine. I always wanted to know that. That's a pretty decent reason. Okay, what do you want to know?
Why your generation so damn hard-headed?
I think we are rebels. I don't think that we're necessarily hard-headed. I think that we've seen so many generations before us do the same thing over and over and over and get the same result. So we're like, okay, fuck it. We're just going to do it differently. And we have way more tools and resources now to do things our way. So it's not that we are I think every generation is hard-headed. I think y'all were hard-headed when it came to y'all parents. We were hard-headed. And the next generation are going to be even more hard-headed now. You can even yell at them. You know what I mean? They're soft. So I think that every generation is hard-headed because they think they know or have more. But I feel like our generation, I'm a millennial, we were the first generation to break the mold. We didn't necessarily beat them down. Some of us do work 9 to 5s, but I think we are the biggest growing generation of entrepreneurs that this country has ever seen because we have more connectivity. We are the age of the internet. Like I remember having encyclopedias, and then I remember the yellow pages and I think it was maps.com when you used to have to print, or Quest or something, you had to print out the directions to where you're going. But then we got to see everything change. So it showed us that nothing has to stay the same. Everything can be different. Everything can be new. And you can make it whatever you want it to be. So who said it gotta be? Just like you just said, it wasn't no book in life to tell you to do this, this, and this. Ain't no book that say we gotta do it the same old boring, tired way that y'all always did it.
Ditto.
We can do it our own way.
Ditto.
That's what we doing.
Ditto.
Just like this, mommy and me. Because old generation would have waited for a network to come or beg somebody to see them in the potential and invest. But new generation is like, hey, I know a fire squad of creatives that can work cameras and DP and audio and put this together, and then it's like I got the crew. Let's find another black person who owns the space or whatever, and we just make it work. So I commend us for our tenacity and rebelness.
Ditto.
It gets the people going.
Ditto.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching this episode of Mommy and Me. As always, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a Mommy and Me Mondays. We'll be bringing these to you each and every week. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Drop comments. I love all the love that y'all are giving us in the comments below. We love y'all back. But leave us questions. Leave us topics, things that y'all want us to talk about. We want to get into it all. So, signing out. Thank y'all. Next Monday. See ya.